we call the Twilight Zone.
See it occur, and you look at Steph and Clay, and even Draymond with his lack of performance.
He's at 2 in a row, 7 points for him. The twirling Doncic, melting into the defense. The front there, strikes. Swing, fly ball, well hit left center. Ronald Acuna is home. Rookie rushing record for the Steelers.
Well, he came into this game averaging 3.67 yards per carry. 42nd out of 49 qualified rushers.
Freeze to begin the third quarter. It has been incredible. Here he comes again. Oh, goodness. And a Greek basketball god. And he was a great guy that teaches the
Rally South fam, what is up? Good evening. Welcome to the show. Tonight, we've got a good one for you and some special guests. But first, Aaron, how we doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing, Bobby, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not doing great, man. It was a terrible week of sports for me. I went to the Browns game. They lost. The Guardians got rained out and then lost the next day.
Yep.
Lost a fantasy matchup by a single point. That's always the worst.
I lost by half point last week.
Yeah, those are never good. It was just a rough week of sports for me. But, hey, Cavs season opener going on right now, which is why I'm facing this way. There's a television over here, just so I can keep my eyes on it.
I feel like every week we have a different background with you.
Yeah, I'm
the last couple
trying
weeks
some things out. We got Mr. LeBron here behind me, and
oh, hail the king. That was my fantasy basketball name for like 6 years. Because I'd always draft LeBron, and I won 2 of those years. So
it's probably a good call. Yeah,
he was a beast back in the day. Well, fantasy beast back in the day.
Fantasy, right.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a good one for you tonight. We've got some special guests. We're bringing them on here in just a second. We've got Todd in the green room. He will be hopping on after we get done interviewing the Blunder boys, who we're going to introduce here in just a second. Programming for tonight, we're gonna talk with them. We're gonna learn a little bit about them and what they do, and then we'll get into our picks and our regular schedule programming, probably in a half hour, 45 minutes, so around 9:15 ish. So, depending on how long we go with these guys, they're awesome. They're waiting in the green room right now. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and bring them in. Cam and Matt from the Blunder Boys, welcome to the show, fellas.
What's up,
going on, guys?
Thanks for having us on.
How we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Doing good. Excited to talk some sports.
Hell yeah. Well, before we get into the sports and all that talk, why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the community and just kind of give us a little breakdown about what you guys are doing from a content creation platform.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Matty, kick it off.
So I'm Matt. We're a 3-man YouTube channel. We put out some real good golf content. We're putting out high handicap content mostly. I
watched a lot of it.
None of us
relatable.
Not even close. So we just want to take everyone along for a ride and have a good time while we're playing. Kind of show some personality and interact with our community, really.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, my name's Cam. Yeah, we were just we're 3 long-term friends, and it's like one of those things where we were out and decided we wanted to, just start a channel, kick it off. But what makes it cool is we are at different levels of golf, right? So it worked out. We're looking to put out some content, interact with some fans, and hopefully bring people along with the ride.
Perfect. So are you guys strictly on YouTube, or are you on all platforms?
So we are on YouTube, we're on TikTok, and we're on Instagram.
Gotcha. Okay.
All at the Blunder Boys.
Cool. I'll have Todd plug that in the chat so we can get you guys some more followers. I'm gonna go follow you guys here shortly anyway.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I was watching some of your content. I've always been curious. How do you get the little red line to follow the shot when you do a TikTok?
The tracer.
Yeah,
is there a filter for it, or?
Fortunately, there's an app for it.
Yes.
The app's not great.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we're looking at other options. I think it takes if you're doing a 9-hole round of golf, it takes an hour and a half to do just the tee shots. So, I mean, you're looking at, if you do every shot, it's hours.
And those should be the easiest to see, right?
Yeah. And the app sometimes will try to pick it up, but it gets maybe 5% of them. So,
yeah.
Wow. That's so. Is this an app that you have to pay for? I'm just out of just pure curiosity because I edit a lot of content myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a paid app. It's cheaper if you do it on the phone, but it's it's lower quality.
It's
So
definitely worse on the phone. I've got the phone app, and it's a labor of love when you're putting these things together. That's for
Yeah.
No, I certainly get that. Go ahead, Aaron.
So like 18 holes, obviously we've both taken a look at some of the content. I mean, how long does it take you guys to like edit a round?
So typically our videos are 4 to 6 holes.
Right.
We are coming out with a little bit longer content. It's taking longer to edit. What we found early on was in our early videos. So this was probably like right when shot tracers were getting started. It was about 12 to 16 hours of editing. It's still around there, but that's because we're improving. We're adding more to the videos. We're doing like significantly better with the graphics and the timing of the clips. So it's right around 12 to 16 hours, but now it's like more efficient, more added to the videos.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
definitely a big difference from the get-go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I do a gaming channel myself, and if you go back and look at some of the content I first created to what I do now, it is night and day.
It's
There's filters, there's masks, the transitions are better, the audio is better. Everything's just, I mean, it's just one of those skills that just takes time to hone. It's I would definitely be interested to try to figure out how to do one of those because I love playing golf myself. Now, where are you guys based out of?
Cleveland area.
Okay. Okay. So do you guys, sorry, maybe I didn't pick up on this. Do you guys all personally know each other?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So did you guys get it around this year or what?
I was actually going to say, Aaron and I are supposed to be playing this weekend. Well, we are playing this weekend.
We're doing some little crossover episodes this week.
Yeah, everyone should keep an eye out for some Aaron on the Blunder boys. See how he holds up.
Please tag me in that. I want to see this. I want to see this golf swing.
Hey, Aaron, do not let Matt make you give him strokes. Okay. Make him play you straight up.
I need a couple. Come on.
I just can't wait to break that shot tracer. And they're like, I don't understand how it can just hook that far left.
No, it'll be fun.
That's amazing.
But yeah, no, we've played some rounds this year. I know, like Cam also got married this year, so we had his bachelor party.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
We got some good rounds in. I had mine. These guys were here for that too. But these two guys are just super fun guys to golf with. And when I found out they were doing a YouTube channel, I knew it was going to be good content, so I'm happy that we can have them on.
Yeah. So was there any behind the scenes motivation to get this channel started, or is this just something you just participate in golf a lot? And you just wanted to start making content?
Yeah, I think we golf a lot, right, and quite frequently when we get into just into the spring and summer months. But I think one day we were out there, and it just it happened to be Matt, Dan, and I, and we talked about it, right? You throw around the idea of filming. And then I think, later on that week, Matt sends out a text and he's like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And, I bought a GoPro a couple days later.
We went in. We went in. That was, it was one of those things. Yeah. You're just like, you know what? Why don't we just do it? Why don't we do it? We're out here just having a good time.
You're already out there anyway. You might
exactly.
Well.
What's the difference going to be?
And there is the, obviously there's the content on YouTube, whether it be like your Rick Shields pages or like Random Golf Club or whatever it might be, where it's, you can watch really good golfers play like super elite courses, but it's not very relatable. So like you guys as high handicappers, relatively, speaking,
we're high.
Okay. We can say it, we're not tour pros by any means, but what kind of fan reaction are you getting from that in terms of hey, we're putting out a different level of content as opposed to like, here's how you're supposed to grip your 5-iron, stuff like that, and from a more entertaining perspective?
I think people realize that no one is misconstruing our content as far as being us trying to be experts in the field. So people are pretty supportive. There's a couple people that have. They'll call out what's happening well, what's happening poorly. I know that on one of the videos, I think I sliced the driver into the water on 4 or 5 separate holes. And the first comment on there is, Matt, you got to put that thing away. So
that is the hardest thing to tell yourself on a golf course.
We want people to feel like, hey, these are guys that we could golf with. And hey, if that means you got to make a little fun, hey, more power to you. So that's
and they're and these are the type of fans too. They enjoy helping people. So finding a new channel like us where we're not very good at golf, just like you said, Aaron, we're relatable golfers. Typical go out hack on the weekends type of guys. Like they like to help out. They like to show you what's going on with your swing, your game, and tell you which direction you should go in. And honestly, for us, it's only made us better, right? It's only made us work on our games.
Absolutely.
So do you find that when you're golfing with a camera behind you that it does it, do you think about it while you're hitting?
100%. 100%.
Because I need to know, because apparently I'm doing it this weekend.
Listen,
the nerves are real.
Yeah,
the whole world's gonna be watching, Aaron.
Oh no.
It's a little bit different after the first couple swings, though. You'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, I think once you get the hang of it and it's free flowing and you're back on schedule with your your pace of play, it starts to just like become in the background, which then you just play normal. But the first couple swings, it's there. So if you hit a good one off that first tee box, you're good to go the rest of the round.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So as far as, do you guys just take turns holding the GoPro? Do you guys have like a tripod or a stand that you use, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we actually all bought the same tripod after Matt found it. It works out great. I think it's like a 5-foot tripod or a 4-foot tripod or something, and it stands up and the GoPro sits on it, and we film at the same angle. We're trying to change it up, get different angles, start using our iPhones and just see what works to make it better. I think Matt's got a drone. We're going to have some drone footage coming out in the newer videos.
Got some flyovers.
Yeah. So and part of the process too, it's just fun being out there, even after the round, watching Matt go through the GoPro footage,
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you like, I'm trying to just think like pace of play wise, like, if the course is busy, what are you guys doing to still capture the content, but not, be the guys that are holding everybody up?
That was probably our main concern when we started. And I think the first 2 or 3 times that we went out, we would film only certain holes, or the battery would die, and like we were all over the place, a shaky camera. The more that we've done it, we found, so Danny, Cam, and I all have a camera, and we all have a tripod.
Okay.
So we set up the camera behind during the tee shot, and that takes 7 seconds. And then you just put it behind you before you swing on every single shot. And it really doesn't slow you down too much. It's, you kind of got to get the flow of it. But we've played rounds, and just, I don't know what the fastest round with the camera has been, but
as a foursome, we're averaging 4 to 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah. So nothing really
standard round.
No, standard round. We obviously we've had our incidents where, when just at Hilliard Lakes the other day, it's a golf course here in Cleveland. We were behind a twosome, and they were slow, and they told us, "Hey, sorry guys, like we can pick it up." And we're like, "Hey, take your time," because for us, it's like, "Hey, if you're gonna be slower,
more time is better.
More time for us," But the course got held up, and they were still right in front of us. We never held up anybody, but we're easy to blame because we are the ones with the camera.
Yeah.
So it is a hurdle when someone comes out to tell you like, hey guys, if you're going to film, you got to speed it up. But again, that's only happened in incidents where we've been waiting.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it's more internal that like you feel that. I know for me, I don't know about you, Cam, on the first hole, you already have that first hole jitters, you've got the starter there, you've got the people behind you. And then it's like, okay, who are these guys that are about to pull out a camera? And then you hit a slice.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you don't get off the first tee.
Sure.
The nerves get to an extent where you're scrambling. I mean,
I got to imagine you assume the guy who's whipping the camera out is like a scratch golfer, right?
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
You just got to lace 1-3 bills down the center.
Puff up your chest.
It's what people expect for sure. But we have had a couple of rounds where we've been paired up, and we've gotten nothing but support from the people we've paired up with. They've been
probably a quick way to pick up a couple followers, right? Out in the community, say, hey, thanks for, playing with us, check us out. And, if I obviously already knew you guys, but if I didn't and I got matched up with you guys, I'd be like, hell yeah, man, that sounds.
See what they're about, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's nice.
Record me. I want to see how terrible my swing is.
So Matt,
when you see your swing on camera for the first time, especially
I've recorded myself just to practice. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I talk out loud while I'm doing it. So I'm like, hey, that was a good one. This was a shit one. Like, so I can like go back and watch it and like try to critique myself, which is pointless because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But
You know, and Bobby, neither do we. You know, that's the best part. You know,
we're
like,
just out there. We're just packing.
None of us have had a swing coach, so when we see them, like we still think of ways we can improve. But for the most part, like it does help. It does, even though when you don't think it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things I love about golf is it's, you know, we all played sports growing up, right? Golf is one of those sports that ages like wine. You know, as you get older, you can still continuously to play it. You can see fathers and sons play together as opposed to like, you know, pick up basketball in the front yard, which although, you know, I used to play with Cam's dad and he could still hang, you know, it's a different level of, you know, being able to play. So, you know, let's face it, we're Cleveland golfers. Bobby, you're Columbus. So, you know, we looked out the window today and there was a wintry mix. The weather report for Saturday looks beautiful, Matt. I'm very excited. It looks like we're going to get some 70-degree weather at Little Mountain, which is one of the, you know, pristine courses in the Cleveland area. But let's face it, boys, we're coming up on winter here. As Cleveland golfers, what's the plan for content?
Sure. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, that's a great question, Aaron. I think we're not entirely sure exactly what we're trying to put out throughout the winter. We do have some footage in the pipeline that we have set up that's pretty much going to get us with golf course content through December. But we also have club reviews that Matt's, you know, he's already done one and he does a good job of presenting like what clubs he has, what works for him. I think we're all going to mix that up in a little bit. You know, we're thinking of other, not we want to keep golf as like our niche, right? Like that's what our focus is, but from time to time, like we want our audience to get to know who we are. So we are thinking of doing a live blog, or, you know, just like a vlog type video. Like I know Matt, and you're in this bowling league now, and I think Aaron, you're in the bowling league.
Yeah, I am. We're on opposite teams, but yeah.
Yeah, we talked about maybe I come out with the camera, film you guys just like interacting, get to know like the Blunder boys and their friends, and just kind of put out content like that as well. So
I think the shot tracer will be a little bit easier on the bowling alley.
Absolutely.
all strikes.
Now, do you guys have any like indoor golfing simulator, like bar type places?
I was going to say, boys, there's the place out in, I think it's Cuyahoga Valley or Heights or whatever. It's gorgeous. If you got, I'll send you the link to it when we hop off here. But Bobby, I was going to suggest the same thing.
There's also one, there's a Top Golf over by where I work in Independence. So that's another thing that we were thinking. So I know that we actually just recently made a schedule for video releases because they lag behind. I mean, like Cam and I were talking about, it takes that 12 to 16 hours to put together like a full length video. So something that's going to be 10, 12 minutes long. Right. So I know that I've logged out a couple, and I've got stuff through March that I think we can do. So that's going to be our goal. Obviously, if we can get out during the winter, you know, you never know about a December golf outing in Ohio if there's 50-degree day or something like that. So, and like Cam said, we've got a lot of different clubs and things like that we want to at least give our perspective on. And I think that's something that's lacking kind of out there is what's a real perspective of someone that's a 22 handicap like me on these clubs versus Rick Shields, who's, you know, a scratch golfer.
Yeah, he does that.
Like, oh, well, I hit the ball 220 yards and I hit it straight and I get this much spin. Where I say I hit the ball, you know, 160 yards and I don't care where it spins because it goes straight and it stops.
Right. Honest review. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think like you said, Aaron, we will try to dive into those indoor facilities. I mean, it's a little bit tougher to do like an indoor simulator because it is like the small bay, right? And you're just filming, and it's a little bit boring to some extent. But if we were able to capture the footage that's actually on the screen and edit that into in some way, some capacity from whatever facility we're at, then it obviously would elevate it a little bit. So
yeah. No, I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, I know I've seen some content online in regards to like those indoor simulators, but there's not a ton out there. Yeah. So I was just curious at all. Rob, Charles, what's up, guys? Chat if you guys have any questions for Cam or Matt, Blunder Boys, on all socials. Please let us know. Type it in the chat. But yeah, so transitioned a little bit from golf in the channel. I know you guys are big Cleveland guys. The Guardians fell to the Yankees last night, losing 3-2. What was it? 5-1, I believe, was the final score.
Yeah.
What were your guys' takeaways on that, Matt?
You know, I said to a couple people right when the series started, I thought that if the Guardians got down by 3 or more, it would probably be too much for them to come back with the offense that they had. And they kept it within 3 until Game 5 when Savale gave up that 3-run shot, and it felt so close when Jose hit that long foul ball down the left field line with the bases loaded.
Yep.
I feel like that would have completely changed the game. But
yeah, then he just ended up sack flying to center.
Yeah.
But that was tough, man. I think the biggest thing I noticed was the pitching. Pitching just wasn't there game 5. You didn't. I mean, your starter went 1 out. He went a third, and they pulled him. After Stanton hit that absolute laser beam to right center.
Yeah.
It was time for him to go because there was only 1 out, I believe. But Cam, or go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was just gonna say, and I'm sure Cam's going to touch on it, but the rain delay really played a factor when it was going to be a bullpen game. That was our advantage, and you can't factor the weather, but it really put the advantage back towards the Yankees.
You don't expect 2 rainouts in a 5-game series, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think we can talk about the decisions, made with the bullpen pitching, out of Tito all we want. I can't look at it from a manager's perspective there, but one thing that stuck out the most was we out hit them, right? Like we had, I think 16 more hits than them throughout the series. And I know we had a big game 3, out hit them like 16-5 or something, but it doesn't come down to the number of hits you get. It's all about timely hitting. And it just I don't feel like we have that lineup. Like Matt said, we go down 3. It's tough for us to come back. Right.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like, it's tough to see. And you know what? And you know what's great though? We did see some young guys like Quan. Like I think he hit almost 500.
He had a great series.
Series, and it was for a rookie to do that's impressive, and it's going to be great to see what he can do going forward.
Yeah. I think one of the big things too was, in that game 5, right? So Stanton obviously hits a 3-run home run. Judge hits a home run. When you come down to clinching games, it comes down to your stars, right? And the Yankees stars showed up. And Matt, you had mentioned how close Jose was to, clearing the bases on that one. But that's just, the Guardians had so many bases loaded opportunities that they seemed like they couldn't convert. And, frankly, I'm not going to, if it's not for Tito, we're not in this position. And frankly, if it's not for Jose, we're not in this position either. So I'm certainly not trying to blame either one of those two, but you expect your stars to show up in that situation. And unfortunately, Jose, pushed it about 20 feet to the left. And, that really was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, this is an extremely young team, man. It's, I think I think a little veteran leadership would do them some good. Just to get through that, those nerves and those moments where, you are down 3 runs and you've got to rally. They need that guy that's, going to be there in the, in the dugout, and on the field, that's going to have the charisma and the, the pep talk, outside of the coach to really, take them to the next level. But I mean, the Yankees lineup is just unbelievable top to bottom. So, I mean, the fact that you guys took that to 5 games, I was blown away.
Yeah.
So
I think our young talent really started to show though, which is a great sign for us. Oscar Gonzalez played tremendous when he needed to.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, it is tough, right? Like we were excited up 2-1. It's tough to watch 3 games go so wrong, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Well, we've got to switch it over to the old pigskin here. We've got a divisional matchup in Cleveland. In Baltimore this weekend, and the Browns are on the road. What are you guys projecting for that, Cam?
I'm a little bit frustrated with the Browns right now.
You can be. This is an open forum. You can be honest.
So yeah, okay. I think in these past 3 games, we've made decisions coaching wise that have not now. Let's not. I'm not talking Patriots, but if we look at the Falcons, we go for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal, we lose by 3. Right in the Chargers game, we missed 2 field goals. I know one of them was pretty long, but still, to how we're playing right now, it just seems like we're making some decisions that are swinging the game, and I, it's tough. I don't think our defense is playing to the caliber that they can. I know Myles Garrett had the accident; he was out of game, is what it is. But he's still, before the accident and after, he's not the same player. And I know that comes down to double teams, but he's not the leader we expected him to be on defense. So there's just some things right now that are frustrating. I don't see us beating the Ravens, unfortunately. I want us to win all we can, but it's not a game I'm looking forward to, unfortunately.
Hey, I'm a Steelers fan. I didn't see them beat the Pats last weekend, so
yeah,
anything can happen.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have anything for the game? Anything that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, for the Browns, I'm kind of with Cam. I've watched too many times Lamar Jackson run all over the Browns, and
He's amazing.
Browns defense this year
Can't close though.
Yeah. They're just not there. They're just not there.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think, it's a divisional game. Anything can happen. I think Jacoby Brissett's played pretty well this year too. Honestly, better than I would have ever anticipated.
I agree.
And you've got Nick Chubb to dictate the pace, but I think when it comes down to it, we're asking too much of Jacoby Brissett, and I think the Ravens probably. I don't even think it's a 1-score game by the end of the game. I think it's probably a 10-point game.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the spread is on that, Aaron.
I'll pull it up for when we get to it. I was going to say, but our defense just can't stop anybody. And Matt, like you said, the offense is overperforming, and a lot of people have, commented, hey, maybe, they're just waiting for Deshaun to come back. And it's like, well, that really wouldn't fix the problems that you have. We're not having a problem scoring points. And again, this is notwithstanding the Patriots game, but it's, it's been pretty bad. And Bobby, to answer your question there, we're looking at -6.5 on Sunday.
Okay.
6.5.
Yeah. I'd probably hammer the over on that one pretty hard.
I probably would too. That's only one touchdown wins it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's probably a good bet, the over. Let's go from a Cleveland fan.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We're still hoping for the best, though. Still good.
Yeah, I mean,
we're all still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the division's still close outside of the the Steelers and the cellar, but the division's still close, man. If you guys can pull, you guys obviously lost some games that you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have lost the Patriots. Obviously, the Jets. There's no way you should have lost that game, but it happened. It is what it is. But I mean, you're not out of it until mathematically it's over.
And technically they're 1-0 in the division, right? So you have Ravens, Bengals. It's not going to happen, but somehow if you win the next 2 and you're 3-0 in the division, the other games really don't matter as much.
That's true.
I doubt it'll happen, but it's worth pointing out on a Wednesday.
Although, hey, the Jets, they have what, 3 wins now?
4, I think.
4.
They're 4-1.
4. Zach Wilson is undefeated since he's back.
Yeah,
he's that guy, the MILF hunter.
It's a bad man in New York. I mean, both New York teams are playing well. It's insane.
I don't know how, but
I don't know what's in the water this year in New York, but maybe they're just tired of sucking for the last 20 years.
Hey, we know what makes pizza good.
That's true.
I've never had a New York slice. I've never been there. I need to go.
No, I haven't either.
So what's the best spot? What's the best spot to grab?
Sbarro.
Oh,
Sbarro's great, but I've only been to Freddy and Peppers, which is I don't know the streets, but it was pretty good.
Okay,
it's the only place I've been. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I went to New York, that would be my dinner every night. It's just a different pizza joint.
Right.
I mean, it would kind of have to be, at least for me. I love pizza. That's one of my favorites. But so as far as the channel is concerned, what's next for you guys? What's the next big piece of content that you're going to be putting out here in the next week or two?
Yeah, so we a lot of our content's like every shot. So someone will go out and like they'll film every one of their shots for 9 holes or 18 holes, or we have 1v1. So like me versus Matt or Matt versus Dan, and it's like to the end. And we've had some of our friends on there, like Dave's been on a couple of episodes. But I think what we have coming up next is really special. It's a 2v2 best ball. Well, I don't know exactly when it's going to air. We'll have a couple of videos come out beforehand, but it features two of our friends. It's a good, hard fought battle. Comes down to the last hole. It's going to be exciting. Yeah, and we have a couple of those in the pipeline.
Hell yeah, that's dope, man. You,
I know.
I'm already doing two things from a social media perspective. I don't think I could add a third, but damn it, I want to now. It just sounds like so much fun.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's an expensive hobby though. It's golf at the end of the day. So
It is.
Bobby, I'll tell you what, we'll meet you halfway to Columbus and we'll get you on the channel.
Hell yeah,
Hey,
we'll get in around
golf around there.
I'd be
We can
so
find
down.
somewhere good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like two things I'll drive really far for. That's food and that's golf.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, go get that New York
We
slice.
can do a 2v2 Blunder Boys versus Rally Towel.
Hey,
yeah,
there's an
hey.
idea. I like that.
Yeah, I'm all down for that. Maybe we can make a weekend out of it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Hell yeah. Well, boys, we definitely appreciate having you. Do you guys have anything else you want to leave us with this evening?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we were happy to be on here. Thanks for asking us, Aaron. Bobby,
of
it was great
course.
meeting you.
No, great meeting you guys.
Tell everyone where they can find your stuff, where to follow Blunder Boys, and again, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah. Maddie?
So we got Blunder Boys on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and we are at Blunder Boys on all three of those.
All right.
So you can check us out. We're most active here on YouTube, so we're putting out videos every week, one long one, and then we're putting out a couple shorts too, so you can see some fails and then some better holes from us. There's a recent one of Dave hitting one off the deck that
Oh, boy.
almost hit the group in front of us. No one was hurt, so everything was good.
Is it Blunder Boys or Blunder Boys Golf on
Blunder Boys
TikTok?
Golf? Yeah.
Blunder
that's
Boys
right.
Golf. I'm sorry.
Blunder Boys
Got you.
Golf.
Okay.
Yep.
Blunder Boys Golf on TikTok, chat.
Yep.
Oh, there's no way I'm your first follower.
Yeah, we just
got up and running.
we just
Hell
started the
yeah.
TikTok.
Let's go.
We'll have more socials coming, but we started with YouTube and we're just getting everything situated now.
I've seen obviously some of your content on YouTube and one of the shorts. I'll leave it with this. My favorite one is you asked Dan how far he's got in, or what is it? He's like, what do you got in? And he's like, pumpkin spice latte creamer. And you're like, no, to the hole, dude. which is phenomenal. So
Yeah, he was on that day.
So again, we appreciate you guys coming on. Matt, I'll see you Saturday, bud. And
Saturday.
We'll plug that when I know it takes you guys a little bit to edit them and put them together, but yours truly here will be featured on Blunder Boys as well.
Oh yeah.
Looking
Oh,
forward
yeah.
to it.
Combination.
Wow.
Thanks for having us on, guys. Good times.
Appreciate
Thank you,
having
guys.
you guys. Make sure you guys get some footage and post it on the channel. Yeah, congratulations to you guys on starting this. It's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Just run with it.
Thanks
It's
for
gonna be
having
great.
us, boys.
Yes, sir. You guys have a great night.
Thanks,
you.
guys. Go Cavs.
Go Cavs.
Cavs. They were tied.
We're up.
Oh, let's go.
All right. Later, boys.
Peace out.
Later, guys.
Deuces.
All right.
That's pretty
When,
good. man.
I'll get some B-roll this weekend as well, and we can throw it up on our Twitter. So
Please. Yeah,
absolutely.
I just subscribe to them on TikTok and YouTube. I'm watching some of it right now. It's just, I did that little shot tracer thing. I've always wondered how that worked. I've never known anybody that's actually done this before. I just watch the golf content.
right.
You know,
And it's you need it because it's hard when you're filming. It's very hard to see a golf ball. It's honestly amazing when you like watch a game on like NBC or whatever. They have the camera on it. They'll show you the tracer on the replay, but like the camera guys to be able to find that ball, like you have camera guys when you're watching a football game, they get confused on a reverse.
man, I've got to feel like there's some sort of technology on these
I'm sure.
cameras, like on the tournaments that like
You're right.
auto track the ball.
Yeah,
because like I find it hard to believe that there's that many human beings on the planet that have like just eagle vision. They're gonna
Right.
pick this shit out of the sky from 300 yards away.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not well versed with that side of things. I know Todd will be joining us shortly. He is in the green room. Todd, you are more than welcome to join us whenever you're ready, big dog. We'd love to have you. We're going to get into some of these picks here. I need to. Oh, there he is. Everybody, welcome, Todd.
Good evening. I'm not quite the Blunder Boys, but I'm here to party.
Let's go.
Hell yeah. Are you partying tonight, or are you just saying
No.
you're partying?
That was just a figure of speech.
Figure of speech. All right, fair enough. Well, I need to get through and do the actually tally up what we did last week. So I'm going to go ahead and start you off with this, Todd. Welcome. Todd, last week was a crazy week in the NFL. What was your biggest surprise last week and why?
Fellas, I got to tell you, I think my game of the week, or my biggest surprise, or whatever you want to call it, is the Jets and the Packers. Jets put it on the Packers in Lambeau, beating them by 17. It wasn't even close for any of the game, fellas. Not even remotely close. New York so New York starts with controlling Green Bay's running game, bread and butter, right? Aaron Jones held for under 20 yards of rushing in that game. A.J. Dillon held under 50 yards of rushing in that game. And Green Bay on the other side could not stop Breece Hall. Breece Hall has quickly emerged as a fan favorite in the Meadowlands for the Jets, putting together back-to-back 100-plus yard performances for the Jets. The Jets sitting now at 4-2. I cannot believe that I am making that sentence come out of my mouth right now. The Jets are 4-2. There is not a single team based out of the state of New York that does not have a winning record. Insane. I got to tell you guys, I just watching what New York is doing, and I think that we'll get into kind of what the test is this week for them. But honestly, this young talent that they've drafted over the last 2 years, everything's kind of coming together. I mean, Breece Hall playing great. Sauce Gardner being right now, to me, Sauce Gardner is my rookie of the year.
You just said it right there, though. They have the chance to have both offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
They do. They really do.
That would be insane.
And it could be Garrett Wilson too, right? I mean, I think we saw him quickly. He kind of introduced himself into the NFL at week 1 with that crazy 3rd and 10 catch, then going down with the concussion shortly thereafter. But he had a nice game on Sunday too. But Breece Hall, boys, I mean, the dude just runs north. There's not even a south in his vocabulary. Right. By the time the ball is in his hands, he is 2 yards north, and he's not looking backwards. And I think that for a team like New York, where really your biggest challenge is maintaining pressure on the offensive line, you need a running back like that who's not afraid to create their own hole. And I'm very interested to watch them really through the next 3 or 4 weeks and see where they come out. I believe their bye week is week 10 or 11. So I'm really interested to see where they stand at the bye, because I mean, we're talking about a team that if they're sitting at, say 6-3, 6-4, they have a good chance at the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. So I got done tallying these up from last week. I
had a rough week, I can tell you that.
You had a rough week. Todd had the best week at 7-7. Corey was 6-8. I was 5-9, and you were 4-10.
Yeah.
It was a terrible week. Aaron, you still have the lead.
What?
You still have the lead because you had a what we would call a massive lead. You're 47-31. Corey is 46-32. Todd is 45-33, and I'm 43-35. So I am in the cellar by myself.
That's why you build up that bubble, baby.
So I had an opportunity to gain some ground last week, and I am the only one that really didn't take advantage of it. I was down 5 games to you, and now I'm only down 4.
That was one of my biggest takeaways, though, from last week was the amount of upsets in general.
It was insane. You had I would call the Commanders over the Bears an upset. You had the Giants over the Ravens, the Colts over the Jags. In my terms, that was an upset.
When they went 24-0 in the first game, absolutely.
Yeah. Obviously, the Steelers beating the Bucs, huge upset. Falcons, 49ers, the Jets,
huge.
The Packers.
That's the Falcons 49ers game to me is the biggest upset
for sure.
And I think it's a fluke because of how many game time decision injuries that San Francisco had. And I think that on last Wednesday when we made our picks, decisions would have been much different when we found out both starting edge rushers for the 49ers weren't going to play.
We are at a disadvantage doing this on Wednesday, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, no Armstead, no Bosa, and you take away 70% of 49ers defense, which is, constant pressure on the quarterback, constant cracking down on the edge. And, Marcus Mariota is serviceable enough, and he showed he was serviceable enough he put 3 tutties on the board. He was perfect through the first half.
Yeah. That reminds me. We got to make sure that we don't give Corey till like Saturday night or Sunday morning to lock.
Yeah, no, he's got to get his picks in by tomorrow morning.
Corey, stop your fucking homework. Make your picks. Send them to Bobby right now.
Yep, I'm gonna need those. I'm gonna need those stats. Sir.
He's just gonna go back, listen to this, and fade all of mine.
Yeah,
would have been a great strategy last week.
Maybe that's what he's waiting for. Aaron, did you have anything like any big takeaways from?
I mean, the takeaways was the amount of upsets, but I think to kind of granulize in on that a little bit would be, I think we kind of realized why the 49ers were okay with moving away from Jimmy Garoppolo and going with Trey Lance this year. I think Garoppolo is what he is. I think there's a reason. Obviously, he had the injuries, but there's a reason he didn't really garner much trade respect when you saw just so many teams changing places. So the 49ers were a team that I had, I believe, in the NFC Championship game. Now, obviously, I thought Trey Lance was going to be the quarterback. I thought he was going to bring some things to the table that would really unlock Shanahan's offense. But that's a little bit concerning, what's going out there in the Bay Area. And hey, hats off to the Falcons. They were certainly a team that we expected, to be in the.
Didn't like it. Sorry.
Right? No, your face is kind of hit real quick. Let's hit this comment real quick.
Yeah.
Ravi coming in saying, "Hey, I'm 1-5. My running backs are Breece Hall, James Robinson, and AJ Dillon. Should I trade Dillon or J. Rob and Gabe Davis for ETN and Myers?" I don't know how long your season is. 1-5 is tough to rebound from, man. I mean, at this point, I don't think it could hurt. If you're one, I don't know. Todd, what are your feelings on this?
I think that the return on that's not. Quite
I'm holding on to Breeze. I'm not even thinking about dealing him after the couple weeks.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You don't get rid of James Robinson either. I really don't think that. You're kind of making a neutral trade and even a little bit of a downgrade in Jacksonville. Now, it also depends on the league. If we're talking a PPR league, maybe that's a different conversation because of the amount of balls that ETN catches out of the backfield. But if I'm you, I'm holding on to Gabe Davis for dear life because that Buffalo offense is too litty titty to be trading away anybody that you have, including Devin Singletary.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, Todd and Ravi, thanks so much for the question. This is the kind of stuff we love. So I'm not trading Gabe Davis at all because he gives you the highest upside of any single player that was listed in that trade. Taking a Jacksonville running back to move in another Jacksonville running back, the one who isn't necessarily the quote-unquote starter, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And although Dillon has not played up to his potential, you're going to sell him real low when, the thing with Dillon all year has been if anything happens to Aaron Jones, he's immediately a top 6 running back in fantasy. I stay the course on that. 1-5 isn't great. Maybe you can extract some value from some other positions. I don't have a problem with trading James Robinson if those are your running backs. I think Breece Hall's legit. We were just talking about him here that he's going to be potentially the offensive player of the year. I would probably try to do something around James Robinson and maybe see if you can get like a Chris Olave type wide receiver, something back. Here's the thing. If you're going to trade a running back, there's a lot more receivers. You should be able to get a higher quality receiver for a lower quality running back just because of the supply and demand.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I have James Robinson on my team as well. Obviously, he has been playing up to par. I had him handcuffed with ETN for a minute. And obviously, James Robinson had a great couple weeks, and then I put James Robinson in, and then he hasn't done anything since. I understand the concern there, and the appeal of ETN. He may be the RB1 in Jacksonville, but I'm telling both of those running backs are very good backs. They're both young. It's all going to depend on who's going to be more effective in the game. So, that's why I might even just stay away from both of them.
Right.
Just because you're going to just flip a coin on, each week on who's going to, get more carries and touches and things like that. It all depends on the flow of the game. So, if you have the option, I would definitely keep Hall and Dillon. And I would deal J-Rob for a receiver, like Aaron said. That's a great point.
Yeah. And if you are going to pick up a running back, I don't suggest ever swapping team for team running backs. I agree with Aaron on that because you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then Peter ends up robbing you back, and then you're angering with yourself. So
it's a lapping scheme.
Yeah. So if you are seeking out at this point you're going for an RB2 or a flex running back, look for someone who's shown recent value, right? If you're going to make a trade, maybe like a Travis Algier from Atlanta, or a Kenyon Drake in Baltimore, who's shown that he's going to be getting a lot of snaps. He took over 50% of the snaps last week.
Very effective.
Jacksonville is an offense that I'm still not 100% sold on a week-to-week scoring either.
Nope.
And until with those other two options, right, with Algier and Atlanta, they run the ball, and they're still going to run the ball with Algier, right? They still have to have that momentum. They're not equipped to be a passing offense. And then in Baltimore, Kenyon Drake is going to get open, or they're going to create lanes because of what Lamar Jackson does with the football in his hands. So stay away from, I try my best, unless it's Christian Kirk right now. I don't really suggest anybody from Jacksonville. That's just where I'm at with that offense. You're talking to a guy that has Evan Ingram as a tight end in the league too. And it's not a great feeling because my options are so limited, because I took him in the 11th or 12th round when I realized that I had to have a tight end.
I just traded Kirk today.
Did you?
Yeah. Antonio Gibson. I know that sounds weird, but you'd understand if you saw my roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's all situational.
Right.
So Ravi came back in and said, my team right now is Kyler, Brees, Robinson, D-Hop, Waddle, Gabe, and Cooks. He said he could also trade D-Hop and Waddle for Jacobs and CD. What are your thoughts?
Real quick, just so you know, obviously, Robbie, we're going to give you as much advice as we can. Obviously, I know we're going to get into some picks here. So, obviously, for D-Hop, he has been on your roster the whole year, and he was suspended, which means you weren't allowed to place him on your IR. So, I wouldn't trade him the week right before he's finally going to come back, because you just wasted a roster spot on that all year. Let's just see how that goes. He's going to get some playing time. He's going to have some playing time here on Thursday. I think you can get good value out of Waddle if you do like. I mean, if it's a combo of Waddle and Gabe Davis, that's great. Gabe Davis is on a bye this week. Maybe just wait 1 week. I think the guys that you have on your roster are going to pop this week.
Yeah. I think you're probably a week or 2 weeks away from having to really pull the trigger, because with where your offense stands right now, and based on matchups, and I'm at least looking at going into our conversation, I think Arizona is a favorable matchup, and I also think that having Kyler Murray and D-Hop together is a favorable matchup to you. And I don't think you drop Jalen Waddle. I don't think you get rid of Jalen Waddle right now either.
His ceiling's too high right now. I mean, because he's got Teddy Bridgewater coming back this week, so he's going to have
Tua's coming back this week.
Tua is coming back. Okay, I didn't hear that.
Tua's playing.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And technically, Bridgewater's played with him last week because Skyler went down like right away.
True. Immediately.
Yeah. That's a pretty solid transition to this Thursday night game, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's get into it. We've got the Saints on the road in Arizona. Thursday night game speaking, this is the best one we've had in 3 weeks, at least from a matchup perspective, going into it. Robbie, we'll get your comment in a second. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the Saints cards?
So I think we're finally going to get a decent Thursday night game here from an offensive perspective. Is it going to be pretty? Are there going to be some turnovers? Probably. But I think from like a fantasy perspective, as we were just kind of talking about there, I think you're going to see some guys who are going to put up some points here. I would take, a high offensive output. I am going to take the Saints here. And here's the stat you didn't think I was going to pull. Bobby, you can attest to this, right? New Call of Duty this week. Short week. Cardinals?
Yeah.
I like it. Do not like the Cardinals on a short week with Kyler playing Call of Duty all week.
Josh, what's up, Josh?
So the campaign comes out tomorrow. So it's not, he hasn't been able to play.
He's got the hookup. He's got the pre-release.
I mean, nobody can play it until tomorrow. There's
Okay.
nobody can play it until tomorrow. I don't care who you are. At least, you can't stream it. So,
so that actually might be a benefit then, because he's gonna. It's next week. You got to fade him because he's gonna have the whole
next week. You're gonna have to fade him. But,
There's no film on Friday. It's duty from as soon as the game's over. There's no.
It's just the campaign that's coming out though. The actual game doesn't come out until November. So we still got a couple. We got a couple weeks until the new Warzone drops. So that I don't think comes into play until at least mid-November.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
He's already fading out anyway, so might as well drop duty. Is that strategic?
Yeah.
Is Call of Duty playing right into
Activision could be be in cahoots with Vegas. Todd, who you got?
I'm actually taking the Cardinals here, fellas. I think the matchup with the Bengals last week and the offensive production was kind of like a one hit wonder situation for me. No Jarvis Landry, no Michael Thomas again. I believe Jameis Winston will be starting tomorrow. They have not made a decision yet, or their head coach is not making a decision or coming out with their decision yet. But I do believe we will see Jameis Winston on the field tomorrow for the Saints. I actually think this offense slows down with Jameis Winston on the field versus Andy Dalton in terms of just overall spreading the ball, getting production the right way. I mean, we watched Alvin Kamara absolutely wrecked the Bengals in the first half last week, fellas, and that was all based on Andy Dalton spreading out the offense, checking down to him, giving him the open lane on the left side, specifically running against Trey Hendrickson and double teaming Trey Hendrickson a lot during that game. So I just don't think Jameis Winston calls as good of a game as Dalton does. And I think we do see Arizona put up some significant points, especially D-Hop's back. No Marshawn Lattimore too, fellas. That's a tough match. That's a tough wide receiver matchup when you're talking about just sheer speed that Arizona still possesses, even without Hollywood Brown out there. So I'm taking the Cardinals here.
Yeah.
And Bobby, real quick, I know I wasn't very clear. I am taking the Cardinals. I just wanted to make the Call of Duty Kyler Murray joke.
Oh, okay.
I realized I was not very clear there.
No, I had you marked down for the 10.
Yeah, I am taking the Cardinals.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals as well. I think you guys hammered home a lot of great points. I think with Hopkins coming back and Lattimore like minus in that lineup, I just don't see a way in which the Saints are going to take this on the road. Robbie, to get to your question, you said for your flex, should I start Cooks, Drake, or Pierce? In my personal opinion, coming off the week, because we're getting into the Browns-Ravens game right now, coming off the week that Drake had last week and the Browns' inability to stop the run, I think Kenyon Drake is a no-brainer out of those three guys this week. Ravens are going to get up early. This will just dovetail right into my pick. Ravens are going to get up early, control the clock. They're going to run the ball. They're going to get first downs. It's going to be a long day for Cleveland. I'm taking the Ravens in this one.
I did kind of one of those veteran moves here, right? So obviously I just got married. We went to the Browns game last week. She was super happy to go. It was a lot of, we actually had a crap load of fun. It was just an unfortunate game. I know this isn't going to be the best game. I also know it's going to be like 70 degrees here. I said, hey, honey, why don't we get some pumpkins? Why don't we carve them? We'll take the TV out into the garage, put the game on, but we can just carve some pumpkins, maybe do some yard work, stuff like that. It's going to be the Ravens, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
It's a 5-head move there, Mr. Mailing. It's a 5-head move. Todd, anything to add? I'm sure you're taking the Ravens.
You got this marriage shit figured out already.
That's
good
it
for
man.
you.
he's 2 weeks in, and he's already just doing it right.
Crushing it. Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens too here, fellas. Look, I think we've watched over the last 3 weeks now the Browns' just inability to stop the running game. And we're not even talking about what Lamar Jackson does with running the ball. I don't know if the Browns have an answer for that right now either. So I agree. Bobby makes a good point. I think this is one that Baltimore comes out and scores quickly. That's what they've done well this year. They score a lot in the first half, struggle in the second half. I think that this is the insurmountable comeback for Cleveland, though. So I am taking the Ravens.
To answer your question, though, the only thing that they have to stop Lamar, which has worked slightly a little bit, is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. He is a great quarterback spy. The reason he hasn't been fantastic in the run game is because it's a little bit different when you have the entire offensive line pulling in one direction. Now, directional runs or designed runs for Lamar might be a little bit different, but Joke has done a very good job on those breakdown plays to stay even with Lamar. But either way, that's not enough to stop the Ravens offense.
I went ahead and marked Corey down for the Ravens too. I don't see him going the other direction on this one. I can always cross it out later if he changes his mind. All right, moving on. The absolute brain buster from last week, the Bucks on the road in Carolina. Todd, what are you thinking?
Well, is Robert Kraft getting married again this weekend?
Probably.
I don't know. Look, I'm gonna make a statement here. I think Tom Brady's kind of a piece of shit for
you think
busted his offensive line's chops when night before a game. He's
this man didn't even travel with the team.
Yeah, not a great look. Look, it's Tom Brady. It is what it is. He always the dude's marched to the beat of his own drum for forever. It's just one of those things where you can't get in the face of your teammates when you're not a teammate yourself. No. But he is taking on PJ Walker, right? That's a very different matchup. The Panthers' defense is a very different matchup from Pittsburgh's defense. I think Tampa Bay bounces back nicely. They go down to Charlotte and they put it on. This is the spread right now is
it's the largest.
Tampa Bay at -11. So I don't think that's enough. I think I'm still taking the over on that one. It's going to be an ugly game. Carolina's it's kind of in shambles just as a whole. We watched them get rid of Robbie Anderson after him being removed from the game by the interim head coach, and it's just going to be more issues. Right. I think that's where we're at. I think Carolina is
it's a complete dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's an overhaul that has to happen sooner than later.
Yeah, for sure. Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, Todd, one of the points I was going to make was, you're looking at the largest spread for week 7, and I'm certainly not going to go the other way on it. I'm not high on the Buccaneers right now, but I'm even lower on the Panthers. Obviously it's a divisional matchup. Anything can happen, but if there's anything we know about Vegas, we always say it. They don't love to lose money. It would be a surprising turn of events if the largest money line on the board were to hit this week. So I'm going to, for that reason, I'm going to take the Bucs plus, Tom Brady losing 2 in a row just doesn't happen very often.
Nope.
Well, that and, I don't know, is McCaffrey going to play this week since they're in talks about dealing him?
Yeah.
Do they risk putting him on the field with the shit season that they've had when they're trying to get some value? I don't think so. I don't think McCaffrey plays this week.
Do you guys really think he's available?
Yeah,
or do you think it's their job?
I think Carolina is in complete rebuild mode right now.
Interesting.
I think it's a tank mode. It's not a rebuild. It's tank. It's tank time.
Either or. I mean, tank, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. They are hurting in a lot of key areas on the offense and defensive side of the ball. And with the way that everything went down last weekend with Robert Kraft's wedding and then the Bucs getting absolutely embarrassed by the Steelers, Tom Brady has to come out this week and throw 4 or 5 touchdowns. He has to. Either that or Tom Brady's washed. He's done, in my opinion. If he doesn't come out this week and completely dominate and show any inkling that he can still play football at a very high level, I think this is probably his last season if he doesn't do anything this week. I know he's been talking about playing until he's 50, but damn it, he has not looked good this season at all. I think the age is finally starting to show, and at 45, it's about fucking time. But who knows?
There's no shame in that either.
Right.
Nope.
He's dominated for over 20 plus years. His career in his 40s is better than most quarterbacks that have ever stepped into the position. And that's just a wild stat in my mind. But yeah, the Bucs absolutely roll this week. I don't even think it's close. It's at least going to be at least 17 points or more at the minimum. They have to absolutely crush them. All right, Todd, a little close to home here. We got the Falcons coming off a big win last week on the road in the Nasty Natty, taking on Joey B and the Bengals. What's your prognosis for this game? And obviously it was a close one with the Saints last week. What are you thinking?
So I think you're still seeing, even without Marshawn Lattimore, this Falcons defense doesn't even meet the tier that New Orleans plays at defensively. Offensively, you're looking at an offense that for the Falcons at least, that's just trying to piece together players that they could build a future around, right? You're looking at guys like Algier and Drake London and Kyle Pitts finally catching a touchdown in the United States.
Was that a real stat, by the way?
First one on U.S. soil was caught last week.
That's terrible.
He had 1 touchdown last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because he didn't get a lot of game.
You're right.
Yeah, he didn't get a ton of PT last year. He didn't play a lot. Because they still had Hayden Hurst, so they didn't have to play him that much. He
still had a very impressive year receiving wise. He just couldn't get it in the end zone.
Yeah,
he had like 800 yards or something.
He did, but I think that this is the Falcons are still a team trying to figure out what the future looks like. They're not playing for the present; they're playing for the future. Cincinnati is absolutely playing for the present right now. This is a must-win game. Any game moving forward into the bye week for Cincinnati is a must-win because the schedule gets a little bit tougher after we get post bye week for Cincinnati. So I'm taking the Bengals here. I don't, I believe the spread right now is 6.5 at Paycor. The Bengals haven't shown me that they could cover a spread yet. So I think this is still a close one. I think they played Cleveland great when they beat the Browns, but Cincinnati hasn't covered a spread yet. I don't want to get into the same comments I made about Cincinnati over and over again. So I'm taking the Bengals here.
Fair. Aaron.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. But Todd, I'm with you too. I think the spread is a little. I think the Falcons have actually played a lot better than I thought they would this year. They were, one of my picks to be one of the worst teams in the league, and the over under was showing that. I'm pretty sure it was like 4.5. We're very, very close to them being, hitting the over. The way that they played against San Francisco is admirable, but I think the Bengals, the one thing that the Falcons do not do well is play consistent defense, and I think the Bengals have an absolutely potent offense. So do I think it can be within 6.5? Absolutely, but I still think the Bengals win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's going to be a close game, but at the end of the day, I think the Bengals get it done at home. I don't see any reason, why this would go the other way. This is a must win. They're going to be after it. Joey B, he's going to be walking in some stylish outfit as always. And they're gonna walk in with some swagger coming off that win in New Orleans. All right, Corey's not here to take the Lions versus the Cowboys. I know that's usually one I let him lead off with because if he wasn't a Bengals fan, he'd be a Lions fan. But Aaron, I'll throw it to you, man. I got the Lions on the road in Dallas. Who you got?
So you got the Lions coming off of a bye here, and the Cowboys on a shorter week, right? Sunday night football isn't necessarily considered a short week, but little less time to recuperate. I think that can be a factor in this game, but I don't think that's going to be the outcome of this game. I mean, I think the last time we saw the Lions play, they goose egged it. I think the Cowboys defense is insanely legitimate, and they just went up against an Eagles buzzsaw last week. I think they kind of get right here, get some turnovers. Looks like Dak's going to be back. And for everybody in Dallas that was saying, well, hey, maybe this is Cooper Rush's team. One game against the Eagles, and you won't hear anybody say that ever. So
yeah,
I
think,
half. Yeah, right. I think you finally start to see what this Cowboys team is supposed to look like on offense. With Dak coming back, and again, we like the Lions on this podcast. They're a feel good story. We all like the hard knocks aspect of it. We want to root for them, but I just really, really like this Cowboys defense. I think they get after it in this game.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was a great game, between the Eagles and the Cowboys, man.
Yeah.
That's the kind of football that we all hope to watch and enjoy. The Cowboys defense is legitimate. I think Micah Parsons has a field day. I think Jared Goff's going to be on his ass quite a bit. I think the Cowboys. What's the spread on this?
Dallas and 7.
Yeah, 7.
Dallas and 7. I think that's a little light. I think Dallas wins this one by more than 7. So I would hammer the over on this one. If I'm a betting person.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting because you're right. You have a Lions team that got to get healthy, right? So DeAndre Swift will be coming back this week. DJ Shark's coming back this week. St. Brown's healthy. Hawk's healthy. But it's still the Lions defense, boys. That defense is it is not good, right? I think we can all agree when I say the Lions defense is not good, it is the biggest area of opportunity that they have as a whole. It's going to hinder them all year.
For sure.
And Dak Prescott's going to come back, and I think you're going to see the offense move just a little bit faster. When Dallas's offense moves fast, they score a lot of points. And I don't know if you guys saw that post-game interview with Micah Parsons after the Eagles game, but he was pissed. He was not happy with losing. This guy does not like to lose.
That is not a man I want running at me this week.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't know what it means to lose. He doesn't lose gracefully. He said it. He basically said it in the interview. He doesn't lose gracefully, and I think you're going to see him come out in full demon mode. And you're right. Jared Goff will be pressured quite a bit. Yeah. And the thing is that what Micah Parsons does is not only is he a great edge rusher, but he's so strong in the flat that short short kind of flat route that St. Brown runs where he gets a bunch of yards after a catch that he's been so successful in this year, that kind of subsides with Micah Parsons being able to float that flat. So I think you're going to watch Detroit really struggle against a really, really, really good Cowboys defense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the the formerly number one scoring offense in the league is not a winning team in football right now. It's because that defense is terrible. So, all right, a game that I maybe would have not been looking forward to at the beginning of the year that I'm actually kind of looking forward to this weekend. I've got the Giants on the road in Jacksonville.
All right.
Obviously you've got the Brian Daboll led Giants 5-1. Nobody would have bet on that at the beginning of the year that they were going to be where they are today. Going up against Jacksonville, they've obviously had 2 really bad weeks back to back. Obviously, from the 24-0 win to open the season against the Colts, and then coming back and getting beat by them pretty handily, and not being able to stop Matt Ryan. That was definitely shocking in my eyes. So, Aaron, what's it going to take for this Jacksonville defense to shut down this Giants offense?
I mean, it's going to be controlling Saquon Barkley. He's the heartbeat of that offense. They don't really have a lot at receiver. Daniel Jones is what he is. He's mobile enough to be dangerous, but he's certainly not somebody that's going to, I think, keep defensive coordinators up at night. I think the Jaguars defense has had really, really good moments this year. I also think they've had some moments of growing pains. They're still a really, really young roster. That is to be expected. All of us on this podcast last week were saying, it's finally time to give the Giants some respect. And yet we still all faded them and took the Ravens, right? So I'm sorry to do this to you, Giants fans. I'm going to take you this week. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But I think the Giants win this game. I mean, just the grit and the heart that Daboll has these guys playing with right now is impressive. It's impressive to watch. And again, they were on our radar last week. But it's finally time to put our money where our mouth is. And not that the Jaguars are a team that you should be surprised by that. But Bobby, like you said at the beginning of the year, this is a game that shouldn't have been on anybody's radar.
Right. Yeah. Todd.
So we talked about Sauce a little bit, get into the picks, but I think we're also looking at my second pick for defensive rookie of the year here in Devin Lloyd for the Jaguars, boys. He's put up a really, really impressive stat line through a very short 2022 season. I think he was really the integral reason for the shutout when they played the Colts at the beginning of the year, him being able to control the line of scrimmage and then being able to control Michael Pittman Jr. as well. I mean, he took care of the center. He took care of center field. Nobody could stop him in that.
Right.
But with that being said, Aaron's right. I think we all talked about how strong the Giants have played so far this year. I mean, they go overseas and they beat the Packers, and we watched them beat the Ravens in a game that the Ravens didn't necessarily give New York, right? I mean, one turnover late in the game, that sucks, but the Giants controlled the game for most of that game too. So I'm taking the Giants here as well. I think you're looking at a team in New York that's going to start 7-1.
Interesting stat before we move on, just because you had mentioned the Ravens. I think they're the first team in NFL history to have a double-digit lead in every game through 6 weeks and have a losing record.
Yep, that's true.
Or a non-winning record, I should say.
That's an unbelievable stat.
Because they opened the game at 10-0, right? They immediately scored, kicked a field goal, then they didn't score again until the third quarter.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to spend much more time on this. I got the Giants. I'm sure the spread is at least 6 or 7 points on this. I don't see a world in where
Jags -3.
Really?
Yes.
It's in Jacksonville. So here's the thing, guys.
I don't care
you
where
can get it.
Wait, the Jags are favored?
The Jags are favored.
They're favored.
Yeah, I'm taking the. I don't know what Vegas is thinking on this one. I'm betting that money line all day long.
You could get a ticket. So I just looked it up while we were kind of going through here because I was just curious what it would take to get tickets to a Jacksonville Jaguars game. For $55, you could sit the second level of a Jag.
I was going to say a Pulse.
$55. If you're willing to make the road trip for a weekend to Jacksonville, and bless your heart if you're willing to do it, you can get in and out of Jacksonville for a weekend in under $400.
So if I was
I've
a
got
betting,
family down there, so I wouldn't even have to pay for a hotel.
Rock
so
and roll.
you're looking at +3 for the Giants, and you're looking at what was it? It was at 6.5 for the Bengals Falcons game. I would tease both the Giants. And
Oh yeah, parlay that shit.
no, not parlay. Tease it, so I get 4 points on each. So it now becomes Giants +7, and it also becomes Falcons plus what is that? 12.5 or something like
12
that.
and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I can't believe they're not favored in this one. That's mind blowing to me. They're still not getting any love from Vegas. I'll tell you that. Moving on, man, the Packers have not looked good this season, but I think it's a bounce back week for them. They're on the road in the nation's capital playing the Commanders. Aaron, what are you thinking for this one?
Well, the Commanders haven't really done anything to aspire any type of confidence in, but obviously neither of the Packers. There's just better players on the Packers still. There's much more star power. Obviously, you start with Aaron Rodgers, who's the back-to-back MVP. They have a good two-headed monster in the backfield. These receivers have been showing some stuff, but they're still
Right.
Dotson, Watson are both rookies. Wentz is out. Am I right, or is he playing?
He's out. He's on IR.
Yeah. So who's their quarterback? now?
Taylor Hinkie.
Yeah. Okay.
He's back.
Who knows? Maybe that's a good thing for the Commanders. You know what I mean? Like
Could
it's
be.
probably good for.
He played well last season. At least for
He's a good.
portion of it.
He's a good clock manager. He's a good clock manager.
Yeah, it's not enough for me to take them. The spread in this one is Green Bay -5. I think this is a get right game for the Packers. Again, the Commanders just haven't shown anything to make me think anything is going well there. Shout out Brian Robinson. Congratulations on your first NFL touchdown after what you had to go through. Super, super happy for him. But it's just not enough. I'm taking the Packers here.
Todd.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm just following Brian Robinson moving forward for the Commanders. That's it. That's my only interest in what they're doing in Washington. Off the field, I think all the shit with Dan Snyder is absolutely he is wrecking that organization.
Oh,
It
100%.
sucks.
There's so much drama.
I fucking hate it for the NFL. Look at and it's just a rich guy with expendable income and taking advantage of having nothing but time and money to just bring. If he said it, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody I can down with me.
Yep.
And that sucks. That really sucks for the NFL, and it sucks even more for football fans. Because if it's true and shit does continue to roll downhill, it's gonna be like a massive sweep. The seas will part and shit will hit the fan. And fuck Dan Snyder for that. You're a piece of shit. Don't bring everybody down with you because you have shitty morals and you just have a lot of money. I don't care that you've owned the Commanders for what is he? He's like 60 and he's owned the Commanders for like 25 years, 26 years, something like that. I don't give a fuck about that. I think he's ruining the Commanders. I'll never pick them for a game ever again, as long as he's the owner.
Wow.
I won't. I refuse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going to win anyway, but but yeah, I mean, you make a great point, man. It's even Jim Irsay, for Colts ownership came out today, and said basically fucking bring it, dude. Like, you're a piece of shit. We don't stand with you, and like he was just like there's a whole bunch of owners that are basically they want this guy out too. So
good. You should.
And a vocal person like Jim Irsay coming out to say that is important because there are a lot of owners who aren't vocal and they don't want to be the ones to rock the boat. Jim Irsay has we know Jim.
No fucks given.
But he provides cover for the other owners to go, yeah, what Jim said.
Yeah, you could ride his coattails, and he's let's say the Brown family, for example. They're the ones that are starting the shit with the bully. And then Jim Irsay is your big friend that doesn't talk, that just comes around in front of you. Is like, yeah, this guy's got my back. We're good.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what
Dan,
I mean? Like that's.
Yeah. Dan Snyder's like, I got dirt on everybody. And Jim Irsay's like, yeah, I do coke, bitch. We want you out of here.
Yeah. Don't take that away from me.
Yeah. He's like, I don't give a shit. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Earl
That's a
coming in with a
fact.
comment, said the Bengals undefeated rest of the year, Super Bowl champs. Place your bets.
I'm going to fade that, Earl, but I like the boldness.
Yeah, I
As
don't.
a Bengals fan, I respect the ambition, but I don't think the Bengals are going to beat the Bills. So that's the one game there. I think that they're guaranteed to lose for the rest of the year, but whatever. Teach their own.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. You know, the NFL is a place of parody to bring some Corey James into the chat when he's not here. So
a fickle foe, if you will.
I love the alliteration. All right, so I've got the Packers as well. The Commanders, probably worst team in football. Yeah, I mean, obviously they won one against the Bears last week in a fucking shootout, 12-9 against the Bears. That was a great game.
Bears.
But yeah, Packers all the way. Moving on, I think this is going to be where some of us probably split up a little bit. We've got a divisional matchup. We've got the Colts on the road in Tennessee. Todd.
Boys, this is a tough one.
It is.
Yeah.
This is a tough
I think we've
game.
agreed on every game up until this point. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Corey going against us in any of those games. Maybe Saints Cards.
Yeah, that was the only one I was going to say.
This is a tough one. But here's the thing: I don't think the Colts could stop Derrick Henry. That's where I stand on this. I don't think the Colts defense has an answer for Derrick Henry right now. I know Jonathan Taylor's healthy. I know he's going to play. I know the Colts just put up 42 against the Jags last week, if I'm not mistaken. Right? It was a 42.
Balled out.
Michael Pittman Jr. had a fantastic game. If you are a fantasy
on my bench,
Jr.,
he was on my bench.
He was in my roster in 3 leagues, and I won all 3 of those matchups.
I would have won had I put him in. I lost by half a point.
I lost by 2 points, and it was because of Brandon McManus kicking 2 50-yard field goals for what it's worth. Piece of shit. But I'm taking the Titans here, fellas.
Titans, all right.
I'm taking the Titans in Nashville. I don't think the Colts. I think last week I got to see at least back-to-back weeks of consistent offense before I could say anything about picking the Colts based on what they do with the ball in their hands.
Fair enough, Aaron.
Yeah, give me Derrick Henry off of a bye at home. Is kind of really all I need to say about this. And Todd, I'm with you. I need to see consistency out of the Colts before I can take them 2 weeks in a row. The Titans hypothetically and on paper should be at least well rested. Let's roll with them here. Let's see Derrick Henry have a big game. Titans at home.
I'm gonna swing the other way. I'm taking the Colts on the road.
It's about time. It's not even that I'm glad you're doing it. I'm just glad that we have a little bit.
No, I don't even. We need to mix it up. I'm in last place. I don't care. I need to take some shots. This is a good game to do it on.
Shots.
I think Matt Ryan and that offense finally started clicking last week. It's obviously the most points they put on the board all season. Granted, I mean, it was against the Jags, but let's not forget, they were shut out by this Jags defense, week 1. So I think that just shows their ability to adapt and make adjustments as the season progresses. I hopefully that's the game that gets that offense clicking and rolling, because there's way too much talent on that offensive side of the ball for them to be playing the way that they have. That being said, I'm taking the Colts. I'd be interested to see where Corey goes, but we'll figure that out later. Moving on, we've got the Texans on the road in Vegas, taking on the Raiders. Aaron.
Oh boy, this is one of those games where I don't really care to watch it. I know I have to submit a pick for it.
Can we all just say Raiders and move on?
Yeah, I mean, we can't. Here's the thing. You got Vegas -7, but you're looking at it. Technically, the Texans have a better record at 1-3-1 to 1-4. Raiders at home. Let's roll Raiders here.
Yep, I'm with you. Nothing more to add to that.
Yeah,
this is the snoozer of the week.
Yes. I'm just gonna write our names in, because I got a feeling this is a game Corey's gonna go the opposite way on. I just have a gut feeling that he's gonna take the Texans in this one. Just
if he was here right now, he'd lean back in his chair. He'd go, and then he'd give an explanation why he's taking the Texans.
Mm-hmm. So no, he'd give a long out explanation of why he could take the Texans,
But then I want to take the Raiders.
All right. I'm interested to hear the line on this next game before we pick.
Okay.
You got the Jets on the road in Denver.
So you have the Jets. I'm sorry, it's Denver -1. The over-under Vegas is starting to learn at 38. That is high school football low.
Sheesh.
Do we think? Oh man,
Sheesh.
I don't think it's going to be that.
I'll lead it off here. I need to just take a quick second to talk about this Broncos team because I watched that entire Monday Night Football game after watching the entire Thursday Night Football game, and it is embarrassing to see this product on the field. Obviously the fact that they've been in prime time has been a little bit embarrassing.
Every week.
I decided to look just before or while that game was going on, how many more primetime games do we got to sit through? They got another primetime game against the Chiefs, and I don't know if you guys consider this primetime, but they play. It's either London or Munich game. They have an overseas game, and other than that, we're pretty much
consider that primetime.
We're pretty much
there's one game on in that time slot. I would call that primetime
to watch it, and other than that, we're through the woods on this failed Broncos experiment. Hackett is terrible. Wilson, I can't even tell if he's terrible or not because the second he snaps the ball, the offensive line is let the defensive line through. There were times last game where they were able to time the snap up so well that it was like watching Jadeveon Clowney in college where he's in the backfield before the offensive linemen are even in their set. It is embarrassing to watch. It's miserable to watch. I'm taking the Jets here. I'm taking the Jets big. And if you want another teaser bet here, tease the under in this game where you get it up to 42.5.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's bad, and he's fucking weird. I'll just say it again. We say it every week. I would be remiss if we didn't say Russell Wilson is fucking weird. Everybody saw the footage of them going into the locker room. Nobody makes eye contact with the guy. Number one, they don't respect him. That's we watch it week in and week out. There is no respect for Russell Wilson on that sideline, including from Nathaniel Hackett. There is no respect to Russell Wilson right now. The only reason that he's playing is because they're paying him a shit ton of money to suck. That's it. It is
just an embarrassment.
It is
no other word for it.
It is an abomination of football to watch Denver's offense.
For it.
It is. It's an abomination. It is embarrassing to watch an offense fail over and over and over for the same shit and make no adjustments. How many times was Dulcich open and Russell Wilson just would not throw the football to him? How many? I saw at least 4 instances where Greg Dulcich was wide open and Russell Wilson is trying to thread the needle between 2 defenders to Cortland Sutton. Completely unnecessary.
Right. And I'm taking the Jets. I want to ask you guys a question though. What changed? What changed for Russell Wilson? What's different now than when he was, obviously, playing good football in Seattle? What's different?
I'm just kidding.
No, but there's some truth to that. So Pete Carroll works very well with fitting an offense around a specific player. And I'll start with Marshawn Lynch. So when Marshawn Lynch was in Seattle, what did Seattle do 30 times a game?
Except for in the Super Bowl.
Except for in the Super Bowl. They ran the football, and they ran it really well, and they kept their defense on the field, and when their defense was on the field, it was one of the best defenses in the history of football that year, right? So then once you separate from Marshawn Lynch, when he removed himself from Seattle, what did you get? You got Tyler Lockett, and then you got DK Metcalf. What do those guys do really well? Right. They both run crazy good long routes. What is the only thing that Russell Wilson does well? He throws a great long ball. That's it. That's all he could do as an NFL quarterback. Pete Carroll fit the offense to the only strength that Russell Wilson has had, and they won games because they scored points because Russell Wilson either ran for his life and scrambled, which is why he was so strong in fantasy value, or he'd hit 2 long balls a game and have 2 or 3 touchdowns off of 2 deep balls and then another like 25, 30-yard pass that just breaks open because somebody's wide open, right? And Denver just doesn't have that. They don't have that ability. Cortland Sutton is your best target, and I don't want to take anything away. I think he's a good wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy drops a lot of passes, right? It's been his hindrance in his time in the NFL. He's not a big game catcher yet because he cannot keep the ball in his fucking hands, and it's very frustrating to watch him because he's actually a very good route runner, and he would fit into Russell Wilson's strengths well if he could catch the fucking football. KJ Hamler is a great short route runner. Russell Wilson cannot throw the ball under 8 yards. He throws 90-mile-an-hour fastballs to everybody. It's completely unnecessary. That's the factor. And Nathaniel Hackett also had Aaron Rodgers, right? That's a completely different quarterback that you coached for several years, right? And now you're moving into Russell Wilson. That's not the same style. It doesn't work. So I think you're finally watching reality. I've said it before on this podcast last year when we talked about Russell Wilson. I don't think he's as good as his career has made him out to be. I think he's always just been in the right scenario. Everybody flips their lid when they talk about Danger Russ in Seattle not winning an MVP because he wasn't an MVP. He wasn't that caliber of football player. I don't think he's ever been that caliber. He had good fantasy value. That's it. MVPs, it doesn't always equate to good fantasy value.
Yeah, I mean, and to go back on the MVP thing, you look at the leadership factor that goes into being an MVP. And you can see very clearly that this man is not a leader, although he wears the yellow C on his jersey. It's just a formality at this point. That man has no control over that locker room. He has no respect. And I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. I believed in Russell Wilson. I thought Russell Wilson was going to be a great addition there. He had a lot of young talent, young receivers, a great running game on paper. It just has not worked out there. And obviously we can see the reasons why. It's just a lack of leadership in general. So.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how bad that offensive line is too, and they keep trying to run these plays where the receivers are running 15, 20-yard routes, and
there's no time.
There's no time to do it. So I understand that you have Sutton and Jeudy, who I think are plus receivers, but what's the point when you can't get the ball out quicker than 2 seconds?
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. His inability to check down is just baffling.
So that's the thing is, I don't know how much of it's Wilson, how much of it's Hackett. I'm sure it's a combination.
Probably a combination. Yeah.
I just don't know what percentage that is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think there's going to be any mathematicians that even care to dig into that.
I lean more towards the coach. It's a first-time coach against somebody who's played in multiple Super Bowls and has won one.
Yeah. I would defer to coaching in this respect as well.
But Wilson's weird.
He's a weird fella, and we'll leave the Broncos talk there, chat.
Thank God.
So I get so fucking fired up about Russell Wilson because there's this huge perception about him being so great, and he's not. He's just not.
You know who he is? He's the football version of like Nick Cage. He's been in some fucking bangers, but like, dude's weird. Let's ride.
Hey, don't you shit on Gone in 60 Seconds. Don't you dare.
Have you seen Face Off?
Yeah, I have.
There are some great moments in that career. There are some absolutely great moments in that career. I'm gonna actually. This is my best take of all time.
Don't you national treasure me right now.
Russell Wilson is the Nicolas Cage of football.
I love that though. I love it.
So you're saying that this is his Ghost Rider era?
This is his like. Yeah,
that was bad. That was bad.
This is Russell Wilson straight to DVD.
I dig it.
Oh man, maybe we should do like a bad actor movie draft one of these days.
Oh, I like that.
That would be pretty funny. We can definitely start off with Nick Cage though. All right, moving on to a game. Going into last week, if I was looking forward to this week, I would have been, much more, positive about this matchup. I think it's a little bit more lopsided after last week, even though the Chiefs took an L. The Chiefs are on the road in San Francisco. I'm sure it's a pretty close line on this one. Aaron, what is the spread?
KC minus 2.5.
Okay, so they're road favorites.
Yes,
so they should be. Yeah, I agree. Obviously, they played the Bills last week. Great football game. Yeah. Obviously, there's that. If we could just have every football game be the Chiefs and the Bills, like those caliber teams going against each other, I think we'd all be very happy fans. But Todd, lead us off on this one. We got obviously the Chiefs going against what some could say a very underwhelming performance from the Niners last week.
Yeah, look, it's hard to say because everybody that was injured last week for San Fran is still questionable, right? That's kind of what makes it tough for me. Is I think if Bosa is healthy, if Trent Williams is healthy, I'm willing to take San Francisco here. But I think Pat Mahomes is going to come out and play like a fucking wild tiger.
I was going to say an uncaged lion.
Yeah, something. Insert any wild animal. Pat Mahomes is fucking fired up. I don't know if you saw that post-pick sideline of him.
Wild mongoose.
Over and over again, he said, "I lost us the game. I lost us this game. I lost us this game."
Did you see him walking off the field, like through the tunnel, and just lasered, just not
right.
just nobody. There was nobody there except him.
That's a dude that has one speed, and it's win at all costs. And when he does not win, he goes out and wins the next time around, right?
Especially against Josh Allen. I mean, I feel like in Pat Mahomes' eyes, Josh Allen is his biggest competition in this league.
Yeah, he's public enemy. He's public enemy number one to Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So this is the statement game for Pat Mahomes.
Burrow's gotten him twice.
He has. You're right. And
I would say he's number 2 on that list.
Yeah,
maybe 3.
Yeah,
I agree.
Don't forget what Pat Mahomes said about Joe Burrow after that AFC Championship game. He said, "I just can't figure."
Nice.
Yeah, I just can't figure. I just can't figure this guy out. He's just got my number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Pat Mahomes comes out and has an absolute monstrosity of a game. I'm talking 3 tutties, 350 yards.
You got anybody on that KC offense this week? Put him in your lineup.
I think this is a good Juju Smith-Schuster week because I think that he had a pretty strong week against Buffalo last week against a much better secondary. And Juju's really kind of immersed himself into being a good fit for that offense, whether you like it or not. As a Steelers fan, he's fit in nicely there. And I think you saw Sky Moore kind of he's making his steps into being an NFL wide receiver. And the chemistry is only going to grow. So sure. I'm taking Kansas City this week, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, there's being a Steelers fan, there's obviously Juju Smith-Schuster made some very, for the most part of his tenure in Pittsburgh, he was a community guy. He did a lot of great things. Very positive coming up. He was the guy that was riding a bike to the facility. Very humble, and then obviously he had a few social media mishaps, if you want to call it that. But overall, this guy can play football still. Obviously he's still a young kid, at the end of the day. So, it's nice to see him fitting in somewhere and having some success. That being said, I don't disagree with you. I think Pat Mahomes, I think that the 2 points is very, very, very generous. I don't think the 49ers even touched a 2-point spread on that. So, I'm hammering the money line for the Chiefs on this one all day long. So I'm taking the Chiefs.
So I'm also going to take the Chiefs, but let's take a step back here because you're looking at a team that, in week 1, obviously they handled the Cardinals fine. 27 against the Chargers, 20 against the Colts, 41 against the Bucks, 30 against the Raiders, 24 against the Bills. The reason I bring up those points or the points that they've scored is, this same thing we've said about the Packers. I don't think this Chiefs team is that same team that's just going out there and every week putting up 45 points. Right. And they're doing it differently. There's more of a sum of all parts about this team. Obviously, Travis Kelce's still the guy, but you really don't know who that leading receiver is going to be behind him. You've seen games where, they can get Edwards-Helaire going through the passing game, certainly not on the ground. But this Chiefs offense has kind of been hey, who's going to step up that's name isn't Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Now, we also saw the 49ers play a game last week that was very, very uncharacteristic for their defense. I think the 2.5 is actually pretty fair because I think the Niners defense actually does a good job of keeping the Chiefs at bay a little bit. But when it comes down to that last drive in the game, am I going to take Patrick Mahomes or am I going to take Jimmy Garoppolo? And I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes 10 times out of 10.
Well, I mean, if it's Jimmy Garoppolo in the kitchen, I'm taking Jimmy G. I don't know if you guys seen this man's TikTok, but that man can fucking throw down in the kitchen.
I did not. Right. I know he's into porn stars.
That's a fact.
No, yeah, there was this viral video that he posted on TikTok of him making
it,
and it looked phenomenal.
What was he cooking up?
It was roast beef, mashed potatoes, but it was like 5-star. Like it was. I'll have to send it to you. I don't know if anybody in chat has seen it, but it's pretty amazing. So I'll shoot it to you guys after we're done here.
Hell yeah,
because I know we all like to eat.
Yeah, it shows.
Definitely. All right. Are the Chiefs Niners 4:00? Is that the 4:00 set?
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, they're 4 o'clock. I also think it's in San Fran too. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's technically a 1:00 game for them, but you know, for us East Coasters,
we should get to watch it on Sunday.
We should.
It
I mean that
4:25 slot on Fox.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, in my opinion, that's the best 4:00 game that we have. We're getting into the second card on that right now. We've got the Seahawks headed.
Swear to God, if I have to sit through Jets Broncos, I'll fucking kill myself.
headed Seahawks headed south to take on the Chargers. You know, obviously, you know. I'll lead this one off. I don't think this is really going to be much of a. Well, I mean, I don't know. It could be a good game, but I'm sure the spread favors the Chargers being at home. You know, Justin Herbert. You know, I'm taking quarterback play here. Taking Herbert over Geno Smith. Yeah, -6. You know, I don't think the Seahawks are going to have an answer. You know, for that line, that defense that the Chargers have. So, obviously the Chargers just traded Cam Akers, if I'm not, or that was the Rams. I'm sorry. Sorry. I get him and Austin Eckler mixed up every week. So I'll just keep continuing that trend. But yeah, I've got the Chargers here. Aaron, who do you have?
Real quick, the Cavs just lost. I'm a little bummed. 108, 105. They're going to be.
Why did Darius Garland not play that much?
He did. You know, we were obviously doing this since like going into the second quarter, so I'll probably have to go back and watch some. But
yeah, he only played like 15 minutes.
I hope everything's okay. I'm not really sure.
Nikola Jokic is absolutely balling out. Devontae Murray in my fantasy league, 69 points.
Whoa,
yeah, he's on the Hawks now, right? DeJounte Murray. Him and the Trae Young show down in Hotlanta, boys.
Yeah, 20 points, 11 dimes, 5 steals, 5 boards. Just tore it up.
That dude already has, I think, either 15 or 16 triple doubles, and he's been in the NBA for like 3 years.
That dude, yeah, absolute machine. Joker's got 35. Jokic has 35, and we're not even finished in the second quarter yet. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. That's why you drafted him first.
Balling out.
So to answer, where were we at there? Chargers, Seahawks, right?
Seahawks, Chargers. Sorry, we started the dovetail here, and I was actually in on this one. I apologize, chat.
So here's the thing. I think similarly, the way that I've been describing the Falcons is also how I kind of feel about the Seahawks a little bit, right? Two teams that I think have overperformed a little bit with, you know, offenses that have been better than I thought, defense that have been, you know, certainly subpar. The way the Chargers played last week, I couldn't believe how close that game was to the Broncos. The fact that even went to overtime, you know, I'm a little worried about this Chargers team. A little bit, you know, obviously they've had the injury bug, but this is the NFL. It's the next man up mentality. That's why depth is so important. Everyone is dealing with some walking wounded in some way. All of that to be said, and I do this just as much. That's all the reasons why I would have taken the Seahawks. I got to go with the Chargers here, though, because it is a much easier defensive. You know, there's such a potent offense, and I think we might get Keenan Allen back this week. I'm not 100% sure.
So he is slated to make his NFL debut this week.
Yeah. He played week 1, didn't he? I think he did.
He did? I don't think so.
Yeah, I believe he did. I think he got injured in that game. But
I thought he's been sitting out all year.
I could be wrong.
I don't know.
But
all right, Aaron, you got the Chargers?
Either way, I got the Chargers, yeah.
All right, Todd.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers here too, boys. I think Justin Herbert throws for damn near 400 yards in this game. And Eckler adds another 115 on the ground and 55 in the air, and it's gonna be a 56 bomb for the Chargers this week. I'm taking the Chargers.
Say 56 points.
56 points for the Chargers. That's my bold prediction of the week.
Holy, woof. Okay.
Wow.
Bold prediction of the week. You heard it here first. Hammer the over, because I'm sure it's not. No,
it's gonna be
56 points.
I think it's like 51. I just moved away from it.
Aaron, you were correct. Keenan Allen did get hurt in the first half of week 1.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Yeah. And Bobby, it's 51.
51 points. Yeah. According to Todd, you absolutely want to hammer that over on the
Hammer it. Hammer it.
All right, the last slate of the 4:00 games on Sunday. My beloved Pittsburgh Steelers coming off an absolute banger of a win.
That's Sunday night, buddy. That's the Sunday night game.
Oh, excuse me, the Sunday night game. My apologies. Prime time, Steelers Dolphins. Steelers on the road in Miami facing Tua. First game back from one of the scariest injuries I think we've seen on a football field. So, with that being said, I do not want to lead this one off. But I will. I love what the Steelers were able to put together last week. I think Pickett in his second game starting, there was a lot of great things going for that offense before he got hurt. Obviously, he went out with a concussion. I doubt he plays this week. There was some news that came out about Trubisky and the reason why he got benched in the middle of that game, which is a reason that none of us thought. Apparently, he got into it with Deontay Johnson in the locker room, and that was the sole reason for benching Trubisky, as opposed to the poor gameplay. So, is this
an excuse,
or was it the good excuse? Right. So, I would still. I would say that had something to do with it, but I don't think that's the reason he was benched. I think the reason he was benched is because he wasn't performing. Mike Tomlin's not going to make a snap decision like that off of one argument in a locker room between a receiver and a quarterback. So, if Pickett's not playing this week, I don't feel good about the Steelers' chances. Although Trubisky came in and he was able to move the ball, get a touchdown, and do what it took to win the game. The Buccaneers looked terrible last week. And Miami's offense, in my opinion, is way more potent than the Buccaneers offense, especially with Tua at the helm. So I'm sure the Dolphins are probably favored in this one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Dolphins take this one at home. Granted, Tua stays on the field the whole time. If Tua goes out, then it could go either way. But I'm taking the Dolphins.
And you're right. It's Dolphins -7, so that's a pretty hefty spread even for Vegas. So you kind of hit on some of the points that I would have. So I'll lean a little bit towards the Dolphins side here. You're looking at a team that started 3-0. Obviously, their last win is that impressive one that they were able to win against the Bills. But let's take a look back, right? So you got the Bengals game where obviously Tua goes down. I thought that was a competitive game, and then obviously when he went down, it was that was all eyes on that game, and it was pretty tough to stomach, and you can imagine that was tough for the Dolphins players to keep going and play, not taking anything away from the Bengals, right? Then you have Bridgewater, who's going to play against the Jets, immediately goes down.
First snap.
Now you're playing a third string quarterback. The Jets get the win, right? So they had two fluky games, and then obviously same thing. They were planning for Skyler all week. And then Bridgewater has to come in and do it. So for the Dolphins, they've lost 3 in a row, but they've been 3 really weird games. They've had really awful, let's face it, quarterback luck over the last 3 weeks here. And let's give Tua the homecoming he deserves here. I think the team rallies around him. I think this game is in Miami, so I think the fans will be, certainly on his back here. I think this is a good team. Sorry, Bobby, to come back against.
No, I took the Bucks last week. Nobody in their right mind was taking Pittsburgh last week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right, exactly. And I think this is one of those games for the Dolphins because I'm still very high on the Dolphins.
Yeah, me too.
I think they've had 3 games in a row that have been unfortunate. I think this is a perfect get right game for them. Tua back under the lights. All eyes are going to be on this game. But you're right. If he gets anything even close to nicked, you're going to hear a pin drop in that stadium. Dolphins, though.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins, boys. That's it. I think this is a nice comeback for Tua. I don't think the Steelers necessarily have an answer for how fast Tua runs that offense. I think we saw it prior to the injury against Cincinnati, how quick he was with the ball. And Cincinnati didn't have an answer for him until they had that sack, really.
No, if Tua stays in that game, the Bengals lose.
Certainly closer.
It's closer. But I think that the Steelers defense is still hurt. And my understanding is that they're going to be down most of their secondary still this week, right?
Yeah.
No
I mean-
Minka. I mean, there's three or four parts outside of TJ Watt that are not playing.
Who's going to cover Waddle and Hill? I mean,
Nobody.
I
So I'm taking the Dolphins. I think that this is a good welcome back to a game. I think that they do everything that they possibly can to keep him untouched.
I will say the one thing to look out for here, and I think a reason that the Dolphins may struggle a little bit, is that if anybody gets close to hitting Tua, he's going to throw that ball away so fucking fast. I don't think Tua is. I think Tua is going to find. I think Tua is going to find it hard to get in a groove because he might be a little gun shy, after obviously what happened. So I would say you're going to see a heavy run game from the Dolphins. You are going to see a lot of shotgun snaps where he's going to throw the ball if he doesn't see anything immediately. I mean, for me personally, it's going to take me a minute to step back in there with some confidence, after what happened. I don't know if anybody actually read. He actually came out and made a statement, talking about it. He was like, I was unconscious until I, was, halfway to the hospital. I don't remember any of it. So, that's. I mean, for
scary.
me, if, I don't care if TJ Watt was in there, I'd be fearing for my life. Obviously you still have Cam Hayward and that defensive line for the Steelers, which has been incredible, and it showed last week. They were just getting through and hitting Brady left and right, and it was great. But yeah, I think Tua is going to be a little gun shy this week. I still think the Dolphins pulled out, but I think it's going to be closer than people expect. All right, Monday night, the Bears in primetime again. Why? Who knows? Got the Bears on the road in New England. I don't think we need to spend too terribly much time on this game, but Aaron, lead us off.
Todd, I think we've picked the same game this whole week. I think we have gone chalk.
You guys haven't. You guys are
really.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I'm going to take the Patriots here. Here's the thing, man. This might be a Tom Brady situation all over again. And let me paraphrase by saying I don't think he's the same type of player. But
Bailey Zappi?
It's Zappy hour, buddy. I mean, he looks legit. I was at that game in Cleveland last week. The guy throws a pretty ball. He makes the right play. He plays within the system. He hits guys on the run. He knows what to do. They have a good running game to support him as well. I think it's interesting the way that you saw Tom Brady come into his own under a Drew Bledsoe, right? So I think there's a little bit of parallel there where, obviously Mac Jones was the first round pick. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Mac Jones has necessarily done anything to lose the job. But I tell you, Drew Bledsoe didn't really do a lot to lose the job either until this young guy named Tom Brady came in and just took the position by the horns. And maybe Zappy's got that too. Maybe in 6 weeks' time, though, this is nothing. And this is just the same thing with Garoppolo or Brissett.
Fun experiment.
Or Castle. Or all of these backup quarterbacks.
Matt Castle, I forgot about that.
Name drop.
But think about it. All these backup, even Brian Hoyer to a certain extent. All of these backup
Nick Foles
quarterbacks we have seen. Was Foles on the Patriots?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, but I'm even just referring to all the backup quarterbacks that we've seen that the Patriots have put out there at certain times that have gotten long NFL careers just by being in that position. And Zappy's just put himself in a really, really good position to, continue in that long line of successful backups. I got the Patriots here. There's nothing that the Bears have done to show me anything. Justin Fields has been unfortunately disappointing. And I think the Patriots are just too smart of a team to lose this game.
Yeah. I think Bill Belichick is still too strong of a coach that he is going to zone in on everything that Justin Fields does wrong and just take full advantage.
Exploit it. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And I'm Aaron, I'm going the other. I think Ramondre Stevenson has another monster.
That dude.
I agree. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's less Bailey Zappi because I like Bailey Zappi because he's a guy that if you follow his fifth year at Western Kentucky, he breaks records. He throws for a ton of yards, a ton of tutties. He fits the quarterback mold in terms of size and pocket poise and all of the things that you look for, but he's just not the new generation of quarterback. Right. And what does that sound like? That does sound like 6th-round Tom Brady, right? Was because the new generation of quarterback was this 7 to 10 step drop, hammer it downfield quarterback in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s when Brady was coming in. Right. And Bailey Zappe's a guy that he gets you downfield so fast because he's so smart. He's a cerebral quarterback. There's not a lot of that in the NFL right now, at least of this new generation. It's all built on the athleticism you possess and then understanding your offense. Bailey Zappe understands the game of football, fellas. I think that's the thing that people aren't thinking about. This guy knows how to play the quarterback at whatever level he has to. I mean, he immediately came into New England or came into that game when Mac Jones got injured and made an impact. And he continues to make an impact. And I think you're right. I do personally believe that he's starting New England for at least the rest of this season. And then they'll figure out what they need to with Mac Jones. I do feel that way.
Well, because he didn't come in right away. It was Hoyer. It
was Hoyer. And then let me rephrase that. So Hoyer comes in, immediate concussion, similar to Bridgewater. Then Zappi comes in and they control most of that game with Green Bay with him, with he had run no first team snaps ever until playing in that game. He had never touched the field with first team. So
you gotta give him the credit, man. The prep.
Yeah.
The prep and the absolute composure.
Also, the Bears. Sorry, Rob. The Bears suck. So I'm taking the Pats.
They're terrible.
Yeah. Real quick, let me touch on the Bears. They blow.
They're bad. Justin. I think Justin Fields, unfortunately, and I'm wrong. My previous prediction is wrong. I think he's just another Ohio State quarterback trying to make it in the NFL, and it just doesn't work.
I'm still not convinced he's that bad.
We'll find.
I think the Bears are just.
I mean, he is constantly running for his life. I will give you
that's
that.
What I'm. Yeah.
So he has like every 10 possessions. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's really good. But the other 9 before that, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't follow you yet.
Yeah, I mean, I have the Pats. The Bears don't show me anything positive, so I probably won't be picking the Bears for the rest of the season.
So, Bob, outside of Colts Titans, were we all chalk?
Yeah.
Yes. There's only one game where we went different. We don't have Corey's picks yet, so I don't know for sure. But I would. There's a lot of these games where I just wrote all 4. That's usually what I do when we all just go one way, so I don't have to write out 4 names. But there's only 3 games where I didn't. Obviously, it's Colts, Titans, Raiders, Texans, because I feel like he's going to throw an obscure pick in there, and Saints Cards. It's the only other game I didn't put all 4 on. So we'll see. Obviously, he's got to get his picks in by tomorrow, so we'll get those. But yeah, this week is basically chalk. So not going to be a lot of change in the standings this week. outside of the Colts, Titans, which if Corey takes the Titans, then I either gain a game or lose a game. So at this point, I'm back on you guys a lot. So I'll probably be buying / making dinner if I can't rebound by the end of the season.
Well, I'm just surprised. Like Todd, we had every single pick the exact same. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean,
great minds think alike.
But you have to look at the matchups this week. I don't think there's a lot of necessarily good football games on. I think it's a very predictable week in the NFL. Obviously, we were incredibly wrong last week, so don't take what we say as set in stone. But
there's also a little teams on buys.
I feel more confident this week than I do last week with our picks. As a collective last week, I think that's the worst week we've had. But doing this,
well, when 63% of the games go to the underdog, it's hard to say like, oh, I'm confident in what. Even this week, I had to think about. I planned my picks going into the podcast tonight because I was very humbled by Sunday.
Yeah,
you have the Bills, the Rams, the Vikings, and the Eagles on a bye this week. Those are those are good teams, and the Super Bowl defending team is probably the worst of that list.
Yeah. I was gonna say 3 of the top 12, and then 4 of the top 15.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you guys want to move on, we can talk a little baseball if you'd like.
Sure.
Obviously, first round of the divisional series is playing out now. We had the Phillies in the Phillies Padres are 1-1. Yankees Astros game is in progress right now. The Astros are up 4-1 at home over the Yankees. What are we thinking here, guys? What are our predictions for this series?
God, I just hate them both so much.
I mean, Yankees Astros. I mean, we've seen it 3 out of the last 5 years. It's kind of getting old. I
was really, really, obviously as a Cleveland fan, I was really rooting for the Guardians, but I just thought from a national perspective, it would have just been, don't get me wrong, the Astros probably still win that series, but just to finally get some fresh blood in there, a young team, a hungry team that plays with each other, that plays, supports, and frankly plays above their weight class. Obviously we didn't get that. I'm going to take the Astros, right? They got, not only do they have home field, but this first game, those 2 delays for the Yankees Guardians in the last series, basically it was like, all right, well, whoever wins this series is going to lose tomorrow. You got a 4 o'clock game. You got to get on a plane, and you're playing in, basically 24 hours from when you get on the plane. Less than that, actually, I'm sure. I wasn't working air traffic control that day, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, that's a very, very tough task for anyone to do. And listen, man, it's
play and travel in the same day. That's tough.
It's going to be the Astros, but here's the thing, man. Let's go NL. Let's go NL, baby. I don't care who it is.
Out of the Yankees Astros series, for me personally, I would rather see the Yankees go than the Astros, because I just absolutely despise the Astros now more than I do the Yankees. Which is tough for me to say, but it's true, at least in my eyes. Obviously personal opinion, but I like that roster. I'd like to see Rizzo, get back there. Obviously Giancarlo Stanton, that dude's a fucking machine. But this Padres Philly series, I think this is going to be some great baseball. I don't know if you guys saw the clips from that game, but man, Schwarber hit an absolute moonshot.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna be an all offense series.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're looking at that, probably 2 of the top 5 out of total baseball most powerful offenses playing against each other. And San Diego did legitimately everything they had to do at the All-Star break, right? Or call it the trade deadline, to get to this point. And it's all coming together. Now they floundered during the season for a little while because everybody they picked up either struggled or got injured. But Drury's back. Soto's hot.
Then you had Tatis go out.
Yeah. Josh, you don't even need him, right? They don't need him. So you have Soto and Josh Bell and Brandon Drury and I'm drawing a blank. I just had somebody else. Doesn't matter. But yes, Machado. Thank you. So you have 4 of your top 6 spots. Everybody, they're all hot right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they went through that series with the Dodgers, and really none of the games were close, right? In terms of offensive production, San Diego just took care of business. And while I think that Philadelphia is an interesting story because, again, they were the wild card team out of a division where 2 teams won 100 games, and they're the ones playing in the NLDS, which is wild, or the NLCS. I think Philadelphia is still a piece or 2 away from being able to beat San Diego in a 7. That's what I think. And it all just comes down to pitching. I don't think their pitching matches up for 7 games, because I don't think you can just keep giving the ball back to Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and play 7 games out, because their bullpen's still not very good either. And San Diego has all of the weapons that they need to pitching-wise to be able to take care of it. Now, in the American League, what if I told you that tonight the reason the Astros are winning is because of Chas McCormick and Jeremy Pena? Because that's it. They're their offensive production. It's not Altuve. It's not Yordan. It's 2 guys that they've built or traded for and built in their farm system. So it's cool to see everybody except, I believe, for Verlander and Altuve are not from the cheating World Series now on this roster. Everybody else is gone. So I'm okay with the Astros winning especially against the Yankees, because they are who they are.
It's probably the only team where I can even.
Yeah. Now, if they were playing legitimately anybody else, I would pick another team. But because the Astros are playing the Yankees, and it's not It's not the same Astros. It's not AJ Hinch. It's not those guys. It's not that team anymore. And it's hard to separate that because you're putting the uniform is the one that cheated, right? Because when you look at baseball's history, it's not necessarily the player, it's the organization that you frown upon. Even the Red Sox now, right? The Red Sox were part of a cheating scandal as well, a very similar cheating scandal. And I have a very similar opinion of Boston as a whole, but I'm willing to separate Houston for what they are because I fucking love Yordan Alvarez. I think he's the best left-handed hitter in baseball right now. And I'll go to bat for an hour and deliberate that because that dude has the best. To me, right now, he has the best swing in baseball, and he'll continue to put up big offensive power numbers, and he'll be a staple in baseball for the next 15 years as long as he's a DH. And we're going to continue. We're going to continue to see the orange and blue and the playoffs, fellas. It is what it is. Houston has a lot of money too. That organization is very cash rich right now as well. They're not tied up in a bunch of big contracts like most of these teams are. I mean, it's Verlander and Altuve are their two big ones. Everybody else is either minor league traded for and signed and then built, or it's a short-term major league deal. Kyle Tucker's their next guy they're going to have to give a lot of money to, and Yordan. Right, they're going to have to make a decision on those guys. But right now, they're in the middle level for total salaries, and they're in the fucking playoffs. They're the only ones that are like that. These other three teams are in the top 5 or top 7 for total salaries. So
yeah, for sure.
That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, Corey, I'm on the same page with you, sir. I'm also pulling for the Yankees in this one. I just don't want to see that the season that Aaron Judge put together go to waste.
I don't think you do because the dude's going to get paid $50 million a year next year.
Yeah, and I said it when we kind of began this conversation, but I kind of hate both of these teams equally.
Yeah, no, I hate them both.
Right.
I hate one less. It's the Yankees right now.
Sure, but what it shows to me is I don't care who wins. I don't have a dog in the fight for Padres Phillies. That's my team. Both of you know what I mean. Like whoever wins that series,
you're rooting NL all day.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, so
absolutely.
hard.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean the Padres have forked over hundreds of millions of dollars. So obviously they're wanting to see that investment pay off. Yeah, Dodgers too.
Thank God. I'm sick of the Yankees. I'm sick of these teams, guys. I'm not saying that I don't like it, but I would I don't know. There's more specific players I like from the Houston side, pitching wise and hitting wise or offense wise. I just like Aaron Judge. I don't like Garrett Cole. I really don't like Giancarlo Stanton that much. I think that he's significantly overpaid for what he is. He's a glorified power hitter who can't play defense.
Yeah,
and maybe Gleyber Torres.
That's why, and again, obviously I'm completely biased, but that's why I was so pulling for the Guardians to come out of that because, they're a team that I believe Garrett Cole makes more money than the entire Guardians pitching staff, starters and bullpen. So
did Scherzer. Yeah.
It would have been phenomenal to just see, those teams that kind of flip it on its head where it's like there's more than one way to win in this league. And obviously I would love for the Guardians to open up the pocketbook, but that isn't always the best way to do it because then you have all these teams, like you were saying, Todd, like who have all of these assets tied up in guys that you're paying for past performance, as opposed to a team that's young and hungry and has all these guys. Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate. Obviously everyone here in Cleveland's pretty bummed. It was a very easy team to be like, yeah, I want these guys to succeed. And it was cool. It was cool while it lasted. So, shout out to the Guardians, but it's just not the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey, if you're still in here, just a quick reminder, we do need your picks by noon tomorrow. Giving you a deadline, noon tomorrow.
Ooh.
But yeah, chat, you guys have anything else for us tonight? Obviously we're hitting that 2-hour mark, so it's about time for us to start wrapping the show up. But if you have anything else that you'd like us to comment on this evening, please let us know. But also just a quick follow-up on the beginning of the podcast. If you missed it, we had Cam and Matt on from the Blunder Boys. Fantastic content creation platform on YouTube, TikTok, all socials. mainly golf focused. They're going to start getting into some more, I wouldn't say philanthropic pieces, but more personal pieces, and kind of telling you guys who they are and what they're about and why they're doing what they're doing. But it's a lot of good content. So yeah, Corey, noon. That's what I said. You heard it here first.
It's a Thursday. It's not like it's a Sunday afternoon.
Thursday games tomorrow. Plus, I'm sorry, when I knew I wasn't going to be on, guess who submitted his picks prior to the podcast? This guy.
Ooh.
We've already given you some leeway.
Somebody's an overachiever and someone's a little scared. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was like, yeah, let him see my picks. Okay. Guess who won that week?
That's true.
You did.
Somehow still up, Corey. Somehow still up.
All right.
Or is it, am I tied?
What's the standings? The standings are you are 1 game back, Todd is 2 back, and I am 4 back. So obviously you gained some ground last week. Corey, you got 2 games on Aaron last week. Todd got 3. I unfortunately only got 1 game back on Aaron. So it's Aaron.
That's the worst
Corey,
week.
Todd, and then obviously me.
I need Corey to take a couple flyers so that way I can gain some ground here, boys.
Yeah. Who knows after last week? Shit.
I know. I flew with Aaron this week, or somehow we flew together. Maybe that's the right.
Yeah, that was not intentional at all. I went first sometimes. You went first sometimes. It's just
I should have flown with Todd last week. That's the only thing that I'm seeing here. So
look, I don't like losing. Corey was up for I was up for like the first half of last year. Corey took the lead, and then I ended up kind of piecing it out at the end. But second's the first loser, boys, and I can't live in third place.
Look, you know how fucking competitive I am, and I'm in the cellar again. So,
hey, who of the 4 of us is like, yeah, I like losing.
Fucking hate it, dude.
I hate it.
I would rather fucking do something miserable than lose.
To quote Moneyball, I hate losing more than I like winning, and there's
absolutely 100%. That's where my head was trying to go. Thank you. I hate it more than I like that 100%. So, all right, chat, we are going to hop off here for the evening. We'll have some videos posted for you on the TikTok and the YouTube page if you did not make it for tonight. So appreciate everybody that did come out. Appreciate all the love. Thank you for showing some love to the Blunder boys as well. We'll be back next week. I don't think we've got any guests lined up at the current moment, but if that does change, we will let you know. Outside of that, you guys have a wonderful evening. Best of luck in fantasy this week if you're playing. We'll see you guys next week.
Later, boys.